All right, so are you ready to go deep on this one? Because today we are diving deep into Stephen Bartlett's interview with Eric Schmidt.
Yeah, let's do it.
On the Diary of a CEO podcast. And,
It's a good one.
this isn't just another tech interview, right?
Yeah.
You specifically asked for like the big life lessons from a guy who was literally at the helm of Google during its like meteoric rise.
Yeah.
So we're gonna extract those golden nuggets and figure out
Well, let's do it.
how they apply to you, like right here, right now.
Absolutely.
So I think the thing that struck me right off the bat was Schmidt's urgency about AI.
Yeah.
He's not sugarcoating it at all. He's saying this technology is evolving so rapidly
Right.
that it's a matter of human survival to understand it.
Yeah.
It's not like some Terminator scenario.
Right.
It's more like AI subtly weaving itself into every aspect of our lives. Jobs, relationships, even how wars are fought.
It's interesting how he kind of connects all those
Yeah.
seemingly disparate dots.
Yeah.
He argues that the very things.
That make AI powerful.
Yeah.
Its ability to learn, adapt, and operate at speeds we can't even fathom.
Yeah.
That also makes it potentially dangerous if left unchecked.
And he even drops this line.
Oh, yeah?
He says there will be a point
I remember that.
where we should unplug it,
Yeah.
but we can't.
Chilling.
Wow, that's heavy stuff.
It is.
What's the deeper meaning behind that statement?
I think what he's talking about there is like the point of no return.
Right.
Where AI becomes so deeply integrated into our systems.
Right.
Think finance, healthcare, even like basic infrastructure.
Yeah.
That hitting the off switch would cause a global meltdown.
Right. And to your point about unchecked AI, Schmidt doesn't just speak in hypotheticals. He gets specific about the dangers.
Yeah.
AI-powered cyber attacks that could cripple entire countries.
Yeah.
Engineered viruses that spread like wildfire in the digital world. Manipulation of information at a scale we've never seen before.
This isn't sci-fi anymore.
No.
It's stuff that's already happening.
Yeah.
So how do we balance the incredible potential of AI with these very real risks?
Well, I think it circles back to the idea of being proactive, not reactive.
Okay.
He emphasizes that this isn't a solo mission. We need global collaboration on ethical guidelines, regulations, and even treaties to ensure that AI is developed and used responsibly.
And that brings us to one of Schmidt's more intriguing points, I think.
Yeah.
The importance of founder energy. He's a huge believer in what he calls divas.
Yeah.
These insanely driven visionary individuals like Elon Musk or Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Who don't just see the future, they almost will it into being.
They just make it happen.
But he contrasts this with the tendency of large companies, even successful ones, to become risk-averse, more focused on protecting what they've built than disrupting themselves.
It's so true. Look at companies like Kodak, right? Blockbuster. Like, how could they not see it coming? It's fascinating how Schmidt connects this to Google's own journey.
Yeah.
They actively tried to foster that founder energy even as they grew into a behemoth, encouraging what they called micro-entrepreneurs within the company.
And that's where the famous 7-20-10 rule comes in, right?
Exactly. 70% of resources on the core business. 20% on adjacent innovations, and 10% on those truly wild out there ideas that might just change the world.
It's like a recipe for staying ahead of the curve, even when you're already a giant.
It is. It's a principle you can apply at any scale, from a solopreneur to a multinational corporation. The core idea is to balance exploitation of your current strengths with exploration of new possibilities.
So how can we as individuals or smaller companies cultivate that founder mindset?
Yeah.
Do we all need to suddenly develop a Steve Jobs level obsession with changing the world?
I don't think it's necessarily about the scale of your ambition, but the approach. It starts with embracing risk. And accepting failure as part of the process. Even Google, a company practically synonymous with innovation, made its share of mistakes.
And that's a point Schmidt drives home with the Google video example.
Oh, yeah, that's a great one.
They had a great product.
They did.
But YouTube ultimately won because they moved faster, experimented more aggressively, and weren't afraid to iterate based on what users were doing.
They were just more agile, more responsive.
Schmidt openly admits they fumbled the social media ball for similar reasons. They were so focused on being the best at search, at organizing information, that they missed a truly transformative opportunity.
Right. It's that classic innovator's dilemma.
Right.
You're so good at what you do that you miss the next big thing.
It's like that saying, the best is the enemy of the good.
Exactly.
Sometimes our pursuit of perfection in one area blinds us to the game-changing possibilities emerging right next to us.
Absolutely.
So concretely, how do we get better at failing fast, as Schmidt and Bill Gates advocate? How do we apply that to our own work, our projects, our lives?
I think it requires a mental shift. You know, we need to get comfortable with uncertainty, with taking calculated risks.
Right.
And with seeing failure not as a mark of shame, but as valuable data.
Okay.
It's like running an experiment.
Right.
If the worst case scenario is manageable, why not test the hypothesis and see what you learn?
I like that.
You know what I mean? It's all about learning and iterating.
Yeah, failing forward, as they say.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. So I think that's a good place to stop for part one.
Sounds good to me. It's about embracing those little failures as stepping stones to something bigger. And speaking of big, the question everyone has about AI is, will it steal our jobs? Schmidt's take is a little bit more nuanced than a simple yes or no.
Yeah, he doesn't deny that there will be job displacement.
Right.
But he argues that focusing solely on that fear misses the bigger picture.
Yeah.
He predicts a surge in new jobs roles we can't even conceive of yet, just like every previous technological revolution.
He uses the analogy of a constantly rising tide.
Okay.
Those who learn to swim, to adapt and evolve, will not only stay afloat, but ride the wave to new heights.
Okay.
But those clinging to outdated methods and skill sets risk being swept away.
So instead of panicking, we should be focusing on what we can control.
Exactly.
Our own adaptability and willingness to learn new things. But this time feels different, right?
Yeah.
It's not just about physical labor being replaced by machines. It's about AI potentially disrupting intelligence itself.
That's the crux of Schmidt's argument. He acknowledges that AI is different.
Yeah.
It's not just automating tasks.
Okay.
It's challenging our very capacity to think, analyze, and solve problems. This time, the tide isn't just rising, it's changing the composition of the water itself.
Okay, so what happens when machines can outperform us in almost every field?
Right.
Are we all destined to become obsolete?
That's where Schmidt's focus on human-centered skills comes in. Okay.
He argues that those uniquely human abilities, creativity, critical thinking, human connection, judgment, empathy, will become even more valuable in an AI-powered world.
Right.
Machines might be able to crunch numbers and analyze data faster, but they can't replicate the spark of human ingenuity or the ability to connect with others on an emotional level.
So it's not just about learning to code.
Right.
It's about honing those soft skills, those things that make us fundamentally human.
Exactly.
But what does that look like in practice? What are some concrete steps we can take to prepare for this future?
Well, first, embrace lifelong learning. The world is changing at an unprecedented pace. So the ability to continuously learn and adapt is crucial. Second, get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Right.
Step outside your comfort zone, experiment, take on new challenges, and don't be afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Third, focus on developing those human-centered skills, communication, collaboration, critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity.
Yeah. These are the skills that will set you apart in an increasingly automated world.
It's interesting that Schmidt himself, a tech leader, initially resisted the shift to remote work.
I remember that.
He talks about how he preferred in-person collaboration, but the data convinced him otherwise.
Yeah.
It's a great example of being open to changing your mind when presented with new evidence.
That's critical thinking in action.
Right.
It's about challenging our assumptions, testing our beliefs against the evidence, and adapting our approaches based on what actually works.
Yeah.
We can apply this to everything from personal decisions to professional challenges. Instead of relying on gut feelings or tradition, we can use data and feedback to inform our choices and continuously improve our results.
He even suggests using AI itself to help us make better decisions.
Oh, yeah.
It's like having a super intelligent research assistant that can analyze vast amounts of data and identify patterns we might miss. But this brings us back to responsible development.
Exactly. We need to be discerning about the information we feed into AI systems, and we need to be able to evaluate the outputs, to ask the right questions, and to apply human judgment to the insights AI provides. We can't just blindly trust these systems. They are tools, and like any tool, they can be used for good or for ill. It all comes back to those ethical guidelines and the need for human oversight.
Speaking of potential misuse, Schmidt is clearly concerned about AI being weaponized, particularly in warfare and the spread of misinformation.
Oh, absolutely.
He talks about the need for international collaboration and guardrails to prevent an AI arms race, or a future where we can't distinguish truth from fiction. It's sobering to think about the potential downsides.
It makes his call to action even more urgent.
Yeah.
He's basically saying, look, we have this incredibly powerful technology, but instead of obsessing over job losses or dystopian scenarios, why aren't we focusing on how to use it to solve humanity's biggest challenges? Healthcare education, climate change, poverty. These are all areas where AI could have a transformative impact if we focus on its potential for good.
He paints a picture of an AI-powered future where every child has access to personalized education, tailored to their unique needs and learning styles, where doctors can diagnose and treat diseases with unprecedented accuracy, and where we can model and mitigate the effects of climate change with data-driven precision.
It's a really compelling vision.
It is.
But it also highlights the importance of equitable access to these advancements.
Right.
How do we ensure that the benefits of AI are distributed fairly and don't exacerbate existing inequalities?
Yeah, that's a big question.
Technology itself is neutral. It's how we choose to use it that determines its impact.
And that's where his call for human-centered leadership comes in.
Exactly.
We need leaders who understand the power and potential of AI,
yes,
but who also possess the wisdom, empathy, and courage to guide its development in a direction that benefits all of humanity, not just a select few.
Yeah.
And he's not just talking about world leaders or tech giants.
No, he's talking about all of us.
Right.
He challenges each of us to become more informed about AI, to engage in thoughtful discussions about its implications, and to advocate for its responsible use. It's about recognizing that we are not just passive observers in this technological revolution.
Right.
We have a role to play in shaping the future.
Yeah, it really is empowering to realize that we're not just along for the ride, you know?
Right.
We can actually steer the direction of this thing.
Yeah.
But that requires a certain kind of leadership.
Absolutely.
Both on a global scale and in our own lives. And speaking of leadership,
yeah,
Schmidt's reflections on his time at Google offer some fascinating insights. I mean, working alongside Larry Page and Sergey Brin.
Right.
During those early years must have been like watching history unfold in real time.
I know, it's amazing to think about.
Yeah.
He describes them as having this like raw IQ, just plain smarter than almost everyone else in the room.
Right.
But what set them apart wasn't just their intelligence. It was their long-term vision. They didn't just want to build a better search engine. They wanted to organize all the world's information and make it universally accessible.
It's wild.
That's the kind of audacious thinking that fuels truly transformative change.
It reminds me of what Schmidt said about founder energy.
Yes.
It's not just about being smart or working hard.
No.
It's about that almost irrational belief in what's possible. The conviction that you can change the world even if everyone else thinks you're crazy.
Yep.
That brings us to like a practical question.
Okay.
How do you build a team that can execute on that kind of vision?
Well, Schmidt emphasizes the importance of hiring the right people.
Yeah.
Especially in a startup environment.
Okay.
He says, prioritize intelligence and speed over experience.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to take risks on people who might not fit the traditional mold.
Okay.
Look for those who are hungry to learn, who are adaptable, and who share that founder energy even if they haven't started their own company.
It's about surrounding yourself with people who challenge you, who push you to think bigger and bolder, and who aren't afraid to tell you when you're wrong.
Exactly.
But as a company grows, how do you maintain that entrepreneurial spirit, that openness to new ideas, without descending into chaos?
Well, Schmidt acknowledges the challenges of scaling a company while preserving its culture.
Yeah.
He talks about how Google's famous TGIF meetings, where employees could ask executives anything, eventually had to be scaled back as the company grew, and the risk of leaks became too high.
It's a classic dilemma.
It is.
As an organization becomes more complex, how do you balance transparency and openness with the need for structure and control?
Schmidt seems to suggest that it requires a deliberate effort to decentralize decision-making, empower teams to operate with a degree of autonomy, foster a culture where innovation can come from anywhere within the organization, and trust your people to make smart decisions.
Trust is a big one there.
It is.
Yeah.
He also highlights the importance of clear goals and metrics.
Right.
Google's use of OKR's objectives and key results is a great example.
Yeah.
It's a system that forces clarity and focus, even amidst rapid growth and constant change. Everyone knows what they're working towards,
right,
and how their efforts contribute to the bigger picture.
It's funny, Schmidt shares an anecdote about Sergey Brin's approach to strategy.
Oh, yeah.
He and Larry Page would spend hours whiteboarding ideas.
Yeah.
Only to have Brin come in, look at their work, and declare it the stupidest thing he'd ever heard.
Oh, that's great.
And then he'd suggest 5 completely different things.
Yeah.
And they'd be spot on.
That's classic.
It's a reminder that even the most brilliant minds can benefit from outside perspectives.
Oh, absolutely.
Sometimes we get so caught up in our own way of thinking that we miss the obvious.
Yeah.
Having someone who can challenge our assumptions and offer a fresh outlook can be invaluable.
It's so important.
And speaking of brilliant minds, Schmidt's insights into his relationship with Steve Jobs are fascinating.
Yeah.
He describes Jobs as a diva, someone with an unwavering commitment to excellence and an almost maniacal attention to detail. They clearly had very different leadership styles.
Yeah.
But they both achieved extraordinary success.
Yeah, their contrasting philosophies on open versus closed systems are particularly interesting.
Right.
Schmidt, coming from Google's more open collaborative culture, often clashed with Jobs' insistence on controlling every aspect of Apple's products and ecosystem.
It's almost like two opposite ends of the spectrum.
It is.
But both were successful.
Yeah.
So it shows that there isn't a single right way to lead or innovate.
Exactly.
It's about finding what works best for your company, your team, and your own unique style.
Your own unique approach.
One of the most valuable pieces of advice Schmidt offers, and I think this applies to everyone, not just entrepreneurs, is to keep betting on yourself. He encourages us to embrace risk, to say yes to opportunities, even if they seem daunting or uncertain.
I love that.
He says life can be understood as a series of opportunities, and they're time limited.
So true.
It's a reminder not to let fear or self-doubt hold us back.
Right. So often we let those what-if questions paralyze us. What if I fail? What if I'm not good enough?
But as Schmidt points out, the biggest regret we'll have in life is not the risks we took that didn't work out, but the chances we never took at all.
Well said.
So this deep dive has taken us on quite a journey.
It has.
Exploring not just the technical aspects of AI, but its profound implications for our lives, our work, and our future as a species.
Our future as a species, that's a big one.
We've covered a lot of ground.
We have.
From the very real risks of unchecked AI to the incredible potential it holds to solve some of humanity's biggest challenges.
Absolutely.
And we've extracted some really valuable life lessons from Eric Schmidt's experiences. Insights that can help us navigate this rapidly changing world with more confidence and purpose.
I think the key takeaway is that we're not just passive bystanders in this technological revolution.
We're not.
We have the power to shape the future of AI and ensure it's used for good.
Yeah.
It all starts with awareness, with asking the right questions, and with taking action.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to hear from you.
Yes.
What resonated with you the most? What are your thoughts on the future of AI? Share your insights in the comments below. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.